Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. We're back for episode 2 of the Dahmer. I was gonna say it was a docu-series. Well, yeah, docu-series. That's what I think that's what it is. I mean, because this is real life stuff. You know, this is what really happened to the victims, what really happened with him, all of that. And so, yeah, I would call it a docu-series. But this is episode 2. I'm still not finished. I'm really gonna take my time with it, but I couldn't wait until next week to review episode 2. Anyway, let's get to it. So police are still on the scene. They're removing all of the remains from the apartment. They're booking him. You know, we see him getting booked and everything. And the media is in shambles. The media, everybody all over the place is covering this story. And they're just, you know, because they keep coming out there with bodies. And so, you know, that got the media hanging on, you know, every last detail, making sure that they're there, making sure that they keep the story rolling as it progresses, because it's one of those cases where it's not just, oh, they found a body. No, they keep coming out with stuff. It's just stuff just keep rolling out of this apartment. We start the interrogation process, and he waives his right to counsel. He says, I might as well just be honest about what's going on. I might as well be honest about everything. The detective is like, okay, let's start with why. Why did you kill all these people? You know, why did you do all of this? Oh, and why did you keep them afterwards? And so, of course, now we have to go back. We go back to 1966. Jeffrey gets home from school, and his baby brother or sister, I'm not sure. I don't know I don't know nothing about Jeffrey Dahmer's siblings or anything like that, but he does have a younger sibling, and this younger sibling is screaming in the playpen. Like the baby been screaming for the longest. And it started to sound like towards the end, maybe it's just the parent in me, but it started to sound like the baby was just in there just being loud, babbling baby talk, making loud noises, that kind of stuff. I don't know. But he goes and looks around because the house is quiet, and he goes in there and he finds his mother laid sprawled across the bed. Her eyes are open. She looks deceased. She looks like she's gone. And of course, the next thing we see, there's an ambulance coming, and they're there to take her to the hospital. And Mr. Dahmer pulls up like, oh, she did it again, huh? She finally did it, huh? You couldn't do it this time? Like really scoffing at her, like, here we go again with her antics. Like, he don't care. He's just really unbothered. He yelling at her and everything, like they not wheeling her into the ambulance. Jeffrey, he's eavesdropping. I don't know when this is, but mama's okay now. And he's eavesdropping on his parents arguing. And, you know, she's saying that he's a sorry excuse for a father. He's never around. This is that and the third. And he starts going in on her about the drugs. You just drugged up and crying all the time. And she's like, that's my medication. She probably is dealing with postpartum depression. You know, she just had a baby. But in those days, there wasn't no man trying to hear that. He don't care nothing about that. He feel like she crazy. She done lost it as far as he concerned. He storms out the house, you know, running right past Jeffrey, like not even noticing that he's there. And Jeffrey is like, please don't go. And he just, you know, child, I got to go anyway. He just leaves anyway, of course. Jeffrey, you know, so this is showing us the early days. And let's put a pin in it right quick. What we not about to do is try to make him human. You know, not to say that Jeffrey Dahmer is not human, but what I'm saying is we're not about to try to play on the heartstrings and give, you know, backstories to allude to some type of tough upbringing and this is how we got here. No, we're not doing none of that. Listen, people got tough upbringings all over the world and they don't grow up to do what he did. And so, no, sorry, Ryan, but no. And it's just, especially when we gonna go all the way back to, I don't even know how old he was, like 7 or 8. Like, we really gonna go back that far? Oh, so this is his first time, feeling like his father, like, really abandoned him. And that sense of not wanting to be alone. Like, please don't go. Why does everybody leave me? He felt like it was him. Because he's standing around there eavesdropping, like most children do when their parents fight. They think, are they fighting over me? And I think that that's what it was for him. That's what clicked in his brain. They're fighting over me. They're fighting over, me. And so he must be leaving because of me. Please don't go. And that was his thing from there on out, not wanting the people to leave him. I'm sorry if y'all hear my children, because they are right out there playing and carrying on. I'm trying not to stop this and go out there and regulate. Because I told them folk to keep it down, because I was going to be in here. No, I'm going to have to go. I'll be right back. I'm back. Jeffrey, he outside playing by the river or whatever. And he scoops up these tadpoles in a jar, and he takes the jar. And while all the other students are filing into the classroom, leaving their teacher an apple, he sits the jar down. And she's like, oh, Jeffrey, what's that? And he's like, oh, they're tadpoles. Is it for a science project? No, they're for you. Okay, thank you. Go ahead and take your seat. She was like, give me a damn what I want with some tadpoles, Jeffrey. Anyway, another student, of course, they kind of laugh at Jeffrey, so he getting teased at school as well. Cry me a river, Jeffrey. Cry me a river. After class, the student, walks up to the teacher like, and he kind of, makes fun of Jeffrey as well for bringing tadpoles. Like, why would he bring tadpoles? And she just says, we need to be nice to Jeffrey. Something may be going on at home. He might need some friends. He might be lonely. And then the little boy is eyeing the tadpole. So she's just like, go ahead and take him. Do you want him? Go ahead and take him. And of course he want him. He gonna take him home. Jeffrey see the little boy in the hallway with the jar of tadpoles. And he's like, those aren't yours. And the little boy, like, she said that I could have them, so they are mine. And Jeffrey's like, no. And then he just walk away. I'm like, see, y'all wasn't watching. Y'all wasn't watching from the beginning. The people wasn't paying attention. Anyway, the little boy gets home and, gets in the house with his tadpoles or whatever. And you know who right behind him? Jeffrey. Jeffrey walked right up to the boy door. He done followed him to the house. He walks and goes inside the house. So I guess we just in the land of not locking doors. I mean, that's what they used to say. You ain't have to lock your doors back in the day. Child, please. It's a crazy fool everywhere. In every year, there's been a crazy person. And so, like, crazy ain't just start happening. As you can see, the little boy just walked into people's house. He just walked right on in their house. He wandering around looking. Oh, he found the tadpole sitting over there on the table. He just proceeds to get them. And he takes them. He goes back out to the back out there to the river where he got the tadpoles. And he pours motor oil in the jar. And then closes the jar and just, observes what's going to happen to the tadpoles. Crazy little boy. Anyway, the Dahmers are having dinner. Mrs. Dahmer, she asked Mr. Dahmer about the smell that's coming from under the house. She's like, it smells like a dead carcass out there. Did you see about it? Stank out there. The whole time, Jeffrey is just staring at the chicken. They had a whole chicken for dinner. And Jeffrey is just sitting there staring at it. And it's bones right now. I don't know. They go outside and they find the dead carcass. It's a possum. Ain't no telling how long it's been dead or whatever. And Mr. Dahmer just starts examining the daggone thing. Like, oh, you see the hole in its head. Really like playing on the little boy. He got interest in this. I don't think he knows. But he's just he's really introducing him to it. He's really introducing him to it, but he's examining the thing, examining the skull, and telling him the fascination with the brain and how it can really take a whole lot, and this, that, and the third. And he starts talking to him about doing a lobotomy on a frog. He said that, he had a science teacher once that taught him about that. And so he is telling Jeffrey about, giving a frog a lobotomy. And Jeffrey is hanging on every word. He's intrigued. That night, Mrs. Dahmer is like, she's going off. She's going off on Mr. Dahmer for exposing him to that. I'm assuming because now the little boy got interest in, roadkill and what stuff look like on the inside, all of that. And she's upset with him for exposing him to that type of stuff. And she tell him to get the out. Get out. And of course, Jeffrey is just sitting outside the door the whole time, listening. I'm like, this little boy, y'all know he out there listening. And they don't care. They just be in there hollering at one another. Mr. Dahmer and Jeffrey, they're out driving, and they're basically out going to look for roadkill. So now this is their bonding moment. They go out and look for roadkill. And so Daddy has been involved. We need to look into his past. Because he around here don't mind mutilating dead animals and that sort of thing. And so he got it from somewhere. This is someone right about Mr. Dahmer either. But they go looking for roadkill, and they bond that night over, the carcass that they found. I think it was a raccoon. They cut it open, and he's telling him, how long the intestines are and how long our intestines are, and go ahead, you go ahead and take it out. So Jeffrey, reaches in and pulls out the intestines, and then Mr. Dahmer pulls out the heart and holds it in his hand. And he's like, yeah, see that's the heart. Look at that. Isn't that fascinating? And then Jeffrey takes it and he's looking at the heart. I'm like, he looked like he was going to pop it in his mouth. Like, what is going on here? I think we need to go look into Mr. Dahmer because ain't no way he didn't do some experiment on humans, because this is crazy. How can this interest you? I know, granted, people do the taxidermy and they're weirdos as well. Let's make no mistake about it. They are weird too. They're weird too. And so, yeah, all this, I ain't with none of this. I don't like none of that. But anyway, he asked if, are you going to leave me again? And of course, Mr. Dahmer's like, what do you mean? Of course not. We going up here to eat dinner. And he's like, no, are you and Mom going to get divorced? And he just leaned back like, psh, it's looking like it, son. It's looking like that's what's about to happen. Anyway, Jeffrey is living in Miami. We are in 1981. He's out of the military. He was in the military. He's out now. He works at a meat store. Jeffrey is on the phone with his father, and his father is asking him, are you meeting any girls? Are you meeting any friends? What you out there doing? You sound like you drunk, because every time I call you every Sunday and your words are slurred. Like, are you drinking a lot? What's going on? Jeffrey just says, he drinking because he bored, basically. I ain't got nobody to talk to. I'm lonely. It's very lonely out here. I hate being away. It's lonely. Can I come home? And so he lets him come home. Jeffrey, of course, is still drinking. He is like a binge drinker. He drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks. And it's like, how are you doing this? I don't see how people drink beer like that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. He lives at the house now with his father and his grandmother. And of course, his daddy on the ride home has run down all the rules. Respect your grandmother. This your grandmama house. House rules. You got to abide by them if you're going to be around here. So you got to go get a job, all that. Jeffrey, of course, like I said, he's a drunk. He can't even mow the lawn. He can't even mow the lawn without taking a break and taking a sip of a beer. Just a whole alcoholic. He's having dinner with his grandmother, and his grandmother look over at him like like he's pitiful. You know, you don't have to eat dinner with grandma every night. You can go have you a date or two. You know, go meet some girls. You know what? As a matter of fact, it's a girl around the church, Barb. You know, I think I'm gonna introduce y'all. And Jeffrey's just like, okay. I'm like, Mama, excuse me, Granny. Jeffrey don't like girls. Jeffrey like boys, Grandma. Jeffrey like boys, and them folk know it. Anytime you got to be pressuring your son to go out and date, go out and get you a nice girl. You can any day, found any girls. He don't want the girls. He don't want the girls. He ain't brought one round that'll meet you yet. And you every time you talk to him is, did you meet a nice girl? No, but he met a few boys. He done met a few boys. Anyway. Jeffrey's at work, and he gets reprimanded because he back there in a t-shirt, and they have a dress code. He's supposed to be wearing a button up, and so he goes to the men's warehouse. Well, I don't know if it's a men's warehouse, but he goes to the store, and he's in there, and he gets his dress shirt. While he's in there, he looks over at the mannequin. He's staring at the mannequin because the mannequin's all bawdy. You know how they make the mannequin. And he lusting over the mannequin. I'm like, I'm crazy, fool. So afterwards, after he makes his purchase, he sneaks into the dressing room. I already know. I'm like, he finna snatch this mannequin. He finna snatch the mannequin. Sure enough, he snatched the mannequin. And I feel like I've heard that along the way, because if you've seen one Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, you have seen them all. Even though this is really different. This is really giving something different. But he waits it out until they close the store. And then he goes and he breathing all heavy. It's always that weird heavy breathing. Just really about to have an orgasm standing there looking at the mannequin. The male physique. That's what it is for him. And he takes it apart, puts it in the trash bag, and takes it on back to the house. He gets that thing back at home. He got him a few drinks. So he takes off his pants and climbs in the bed with the mannequin, rubbing all up against it, talking to it. I'm just like, he is nutty as hell. He is nutty as, okay, just crazy. Crazy. Anyway. He in a better mood now that he done had the sex with the mannequin. And he come out the room, and grandma is headed upstairs with the laundry. He's like, oh, leave my stuff outside the door because I want to make my bed myself. And she looking like, okay, yeah, sure thing. Soon as he cut that corner, she, of course, goes inside the room. And it looked like somebody laying in the bed. It's the mannequin man, of course. But when she pulls it back, we don't see what she sees. Instead, what do we see? A black man sprawled out dead on the bed. And Jeffrey is just standing over him. And so we can assume that this was Jeffrey's first kill. It's 1991 now. And he done killed this man. And he laying in the bed with the man and all of that. Oh, it's just crazy. Giving necrophiliac, all that. It's hard to watch this stuff. It really is. I know it seems like I'm just so excited about the whole thing. If you are new here, I just love reviewing scripted television in general. I have so much fun with it because the aspiring actor in me makes me, act out scenes and all of that. And so I love it. I love to review scripted television. This is where the enthusiasm comes from. It does not come from the baseline of it all. The fact that we're here talking about this serial killer that murdered all these men. This is real life for the victims' families, for all the people involved. This was real life for them. And so I don't want it to come off insensitive. I absolutely empathize with the victims and with the families of the victims and all of that and what happened in that time. I wasn't around then, of course, but hearing about it is terrible. It's terrible. Again, like I said, we get our happy ending, and I really hope that we see it all the way up until they take that ass out in prison. Back to the story. Back to the show. Jeffrey is going into this liquor store, and he sees these teenagers out front. He kind of, make jokes at them for being outside the liquor store. He's drunk as well, by the way. There's one of them in particular, is Asian boy. He looks like he's about 14 or 15. And he telling Jeffrey that he's 21. Jeffrey like, well, why you ain't going there and buy you a drink? He he laughs at him. He knows he's young. And the boy says that he's 19, which is a lie. But Jeffrey goes ahead, I'll go in there and get you something. He goes in there and gets the beer. And when he comes out, he kind of waves it in front of them and keeps walking. And they're like, wait a minute, give me the beer. Oh, no, we're going to my house to party. Come on, you coming? You want the beer? You going to come to the party? And he looked back at his friends. His friends don't go because they smart. But they shouldn't have let him go. You see, choose your friends wisely. It's so many lessons to be learned when you watch this type of stuff. It's so many lessons to be learned. Like, you cannot just let your friend walk off with strangers. You cannot do that. What is wrong with people? Like, the buddy system, always. I'm telling you, when I met Tim, I was not going around that apartment by myself. I brought my girls every time. One, it was either Sharika or it was LaTiffany, but one of them was coming with. Cause we're not about to play. Hell be wrong with people. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. They go back to Jeffrey's apartment, and while they're walking there, on the pole there's a missing person's picture of the guy that's dead on the floor in Jeffrey's house. But anyway, they get back to his place. Jeffrey give him that drink with drugs, of course. And he told the boys, he's like, I know you're not 21. He asked him how old he is. And he tells him that he's 14. I said, 14? That's a baby. And the little boy recognizes him. The boy's like, you don't know who I am? I remember what you did to my brother. So his brother was Jeffrey's first victim. The first time he took it too far with someone. He didn't kill this boy, but he raped him. And the boy knew all the details. Jeffrey just sits there doing that labored breathing like he be doing. And of course Jeffrey tries to play it off like, that's not what happened. I know that's what they're saying. They like to paint me out to be the monster, this, that, and the third, but that's not what it was. He was supposed to pay, and he offered to pay the boy that he raped. He was supposed to pay him, and he said, I paid him, so I'm like, you just be turning folks into prostitutes. The people just be trying to come have a party, drink, smoke a little weed, and then you want to offer up payment, so now you done turn me into a whole prostitute. Anyway, he talking about, I just be wanting to take pictures. That's all it was. Jeffrey offered the little boy $100. And Jeffrey, of course, with his sob story and, he's innocent. It's just whatever, bullshit. But he says that your brother lied to the cops and all of that. How do I know you're not going to do the same thing and all of that? And the guy is like, okay, I'll take your pictures, but you're going to have to give me my money first. And Jeffrey challenges that, but he's like, nah, money now, right now. And so Jeffrey looks in the wallet and pulls out $23 and hands it to him, and it's like, you'll get the rest when we're finished. And he's like, go ahead and drink up. And the guy's, he feels like this ain't the beer I asked for. Like, this don't taste right. Jeffrey goes and looks at the can. He put drugs in it. He looks at, I don't know. I gave you this one. Maybe it was the wrong one. I'm sorry. It might be the wrong one. So I'm going to take this one and you take this and just chug it. Go ahead and chug it because he drinking it. It's drugged. So he can't take it back, and he's 14. He's like, nah, go ahead and chug it. Being real, pressure, putting the pressure on. So the boy drinks all the beer. And now next thing we know, he is knocked out, incoherent completely. Eyes rolling back and all of that. It's bad. He's really doped up. And he's laying down, and Jeffrey, has him laid across his, because the boy kind of wakes up, and no, I'm jumping the gun. Sorry. Before that, Jeffrey has him laid across his lap, and he's just talking to him like he's gonna talk. The man eyes roll back in his head. I mean, he is gone. Gone. Jeffrey leans him back, and and then he goes and gets the drill that he uses, or the saw. And the boy, we can kind of see from his vantage point, he's watching this, and so he can see what's about to happen to him, but he can't do anything about it. He can't move. He can't do nothing. And Jeffrey is like, oh, this isn't going to hurt. This is just going to turn you into kind of like a zombie so that you won't leave me. And then all you hear is this, he turns it on and starts drilling in this boy's head, giving him a lobotomy. Then we see the boy is lucid enough. He wakes up a little bit, and he's delirious though, and he gets up and he tries to get out. And when he gets out, he runs into Niecy Nash's, I want to say these are her daughters, but he runs into them, and they like, what's going on with you? What's wrong with you? He can't talk. He can't even get nothing out. But they he goes out there, and I guess they go and get their mom, because next thing we see, they're out there talking to the cops. And Jeffrey is walking back to his apartment. And so we got the little boy sitting on the curb. The police are out there talking to Niecy and her two daughters, and they're like, "No, this is a child. Like I don't know what's going on, but he came out of that man's apartment." And so Jeffrey walks up like, "What's going on? This is my boyfriend." "Your boyfriend?" "Yeah, it's my boyfriend. He just got a little drunk, Drunk? How old is he?" Nobody's checking ID. They don't even really care. The minute that he says, "This is my boyfriend," those police check out. They completely check out. And at this point, it's almost like Jeffrey uses that to his advantage, knowing that the police are not going to look any further. They're not going to take nothing serious. They don't care nothing about that. None of that. Oh, you know what, y'all? I missed something. I missed a lot, actually. I missed a lot, y'all. I mean, it wasn't pertinent information. It was just details of what happened to the boy. Before he did that lobotomy on him, the boy doped up and all kind of rolls off the bed and onto the dead man on the floor. And this is why Jeffrey picks him up, and lays him back on his lap, and starts that bullshit. But he took all his pictures and all of that. So back over there with the police, he's telling the police, "I got pictures. We're a couple. It's nothing. It's just gay stuff. Don't worry, no worries." And Niecy's whole thing is, "Nah, how old is he?" And Jeffrey says that he's 19. And the police are just taking his word for everything. And the whole time she's like, "No, this is a child. How old is he? Y'all not gonna check his ID? Y'all really just gonna send him back over there with him?" And they're like, "Ma'am, that's his boyfriend. What are we?" And so they take that boy right back to Jeffrey's apartment and leave him there with him. And of course, Jeffrey commences to killing him and probably chopping him up and all of that. Because Niecy, of course, is in her apartment, and she's in her apartment, and she can hear the whole thing. She looks out the apartment and sees that the police have driven off or whatever. And the next thing she hears is sawing. And so, of course, she can just do with that whatever she will. But it's safe to say that he killed that boy that night, of course. It's crazy too. I'm like, y'all looked at them pictures and thought and thought that they were okay, like them looked right. That boy's eyes was rolled in the back of his head. He was high as hell, barely conscious. And y'all looked at them pictures and thought, "Oh, that's no, thank you." That it's him playing up the whole gay thing, and that made them very uncomfortable. And so they didn't look. We got it. Take your word for it. They over there making jokes talking about we gonna go and take a nice long bath after being up in here. They went in there and could smell the decomposing body in the room. Barely looked around. You know, they crossed their T's and dotted their I's just to say that they did. But they didn't do it thoroughly. Nobody looked around thoroughly. Anyway, they get back to the car, like I said, and get on the radio talking about, well, the intoxicated Asian has been brought back to his sober boyfriend. Just really laughing about it. Making jokes about needing a bath and all of that. They are a mess. They are a mess. Anyway, Niecy, like I said, she in her apartment. She watched the police leave or whatever. And then we hear the actual call that was made. Well, it's not the actual call, but I would say it's the transcript. Because it's Niecy's voice or whatever. The call was made at 2:25 a.m. Niecy, she called the police about the incident that, you know, that happened. She's asking about the boy. She wants to know what's being done. And she keeps saying to them, are y'all sure it wasn't a child? It appeared to be a child. It appeared to be a child. And the police officer's like, no, it's not. He's that's his boyfriend, da 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 da. She's like, are y'all positive? Yes, we're positive. We're positive. No. They weren't positive. They didn't double check. They ain't go looking. They didn't even look for the ID. Because they were supposed to be going back up to his apartment to find the ID. They didn't even look for the ID. Shoddy police work all the way around. Those police officers, if they are still among the living, they should be ashamed of themselves for the way they botched this whole thing. He could have been arrested right then and there. Right then and there. And yet, y'all did look glance over in the living room. All right, everything looks good. No, take your ass round up and through the apartment. It's a whole dead body on the side of the bed. Whole dead body. The man been missing for weeks. You got the posters up. You can smell that something died. And you know he gave that stupid ass excuse. Oh yeah, I love my pork chops. You know, I love my pork chops. You know, and my meat went bad. Whatever. Jeffrey Dahmer. Let me go on and get episode 3 watched so I can get the review to you guys. I'm sure that some of you have already finished it, so don't ruin it for me, okay? Don't ruin it for me in the comments, but I hope that you all are enjoying the reviews. I'm enjoying giving you guys the reviews. I got a few new subscribers out of it, and so thank you guys. Welcome out to the party. We have a lot of fun here, you know. Yeah, I'll be back for episode 3 probably within the next 2 days or so. I don't know. Maybe I'll probably try to have it watched and note take, you know, take all my notes and all of that probably tomorrow so that I can have it up with my Real Housewives of Atlanta review and my Love and Marriage Huntsville review. Yeah, that's how we gonna do it. So I'll see y'all around. I'll see y'all Monday. Have a good day. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll talk with you later. Bye.